Right, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video. I thought it was about time, long overdue, to do a bit of a houseplant update. I'm just going to go through and show you one by one all of the plants rather than taking you around on a tour, purely because I do not want to have to tidy every corner of my room. So everything has probably changed quite a lot, more than I probably realise, because I've not really been paying too much attention to my plants for the past year, I'd say. I really haven't been paying them too much attention. I've just been keeping on top of watering and doing very little else. That's kind of it, basically. And that means that a lot of them have done really well because that's what they like, such as the Hoyas, Sansevierias. But a lot of my begonias, philodendrons, I don't actually have any philodendrons left. All thrips, killed by thrips, so I've kind of got rid of them all because the way the thrips work is they lay eggs inside the leaf, and then so what you can wipe off adult thrips off the leaf, but then literally 3 weeks later you've got babies again, so it's an ongoing cycle. So I thought if I just get rid of everything that has thrips and start fresh, one, it'll be easier to control if I do get thrips again. Two, the thrips are predominantly gone because there's a lot of plants that the thrips just do not touch, such as these guys. So I thought if I just keep my collection, kind of a bit easier, then it'll keep it enjoyable a bit more, because the thrips were really just grinding away at the enjoyment of the houseplant collecting. So that's a bit of a ramble, but basically my plant collection is a lot smaller, like significantly smaller, like probably like a quarter of the size of it as it was. But yeah, I'll go through a few of them now. I'm going to do this in stages, all in one video, but just in stages, so that I can go through every plant and show you guys and keep you updated. So first of all, I might as well do this nice little Scindapsus pictus. This is Trebi, and this one has grown huge, and this is kept in a really dark point in my room. It's like it's in the center of the room, the furthest point away from the windows, just on a shelf on my desk, and it has done so well. I've never potted it up. It's still in its nursery pot. I just keep a tray under it and I water it when the leaves start to curl, and that is all I do, and it's looking amazing. I do need to go through and dust it. I dust this one maybe once every 2 to 3 months, but it definitely is in need of a dusting. But it is so beautiful, and this is going to be this is one of my all-time favorites, not in the sense of it being super amazing, but in the sense that it's so simple, low maintenance, and looks beautiful, and it's got the beautiful silvery bluey foliage, which I absolutely love. So that is a super easy, no pests, the thrips never touch it. I've never ever had mealybugs in my collection, so I can't speak for mealybugs. They probably would love this, but I've never had to deal with that, luckily. Yeah, so, and I can actually tell you how much I paid for this, $4.99, because it's still there. But I've had this for well over a year, probably coming up to 2 years, maybe, and it's just doing spectacular. It just looks so amazing. I should probably move some of these back a bit so that, oh, I can't move that because of how tall the stick is. Just so that it's not got the contrast plant behind it. There you go, that is beautiful. Right, so that one, love that. Next up, another staple, solid houseplant for me, which has always done so well and somehow avoided thrips, is my Hoya pubicalyx. This is the Hawaiian purple. I've never had this one flower. It's never shown any signs of flowering. Let me try and get the whole thing in. So it's in this tall pot. and part of the plant is trailing and then the other part is climbing, and you can see the tallest point at the top. That is pretty new growth for the past couple of months, but it's relatively slow growing, this one, which I'm happy about because otherwise it would really overtake. But when the new growth comes through, it comes through like the deepest purple you can imagine. No, it comes through black, then it turns purple, then it turns green, but it comes through like jet black, then changes to super deep purple, and then it turns into this beautiful lush green with this nice speckling through it. I got this one from Etsy, a seller who actually closed down their shop, I believe. I don't remember, it was My Zen Plants or something like that, around that, yeah. I do have a video of unboxing this if you want to go check it out, but it was sold as just a regular Hoya pubicalis, but it is a Hawaiian purple, which is, I think, a bit more hard to find. So yeah, one of my absolute favourites because it's just so easy, looks amazing, no fuss, and that's exactly what you need. A few of those staple plants so that you don't lose your mind when all of your begonias decide to drop their leaves, because you've got this to fall back on and be like, okay, well, at least that's doing good. Right, next up, I'll show you my only Alocasia I have now, believe it or not, even though I did buy 2 new Alocasias a month ago, just over a month ago. They both died. Thrips. They both came in with thrips, from what I could tell. But this one is my Alocasia Capri Purple Secret, Red Secret, and it is doing pretty good. There are 2 plants there, and I know you probably won't be able to see it, but there is a new baby coming up. You can only just see, let me try and point with my finger. Just there is a new little baby coming up, which is pretty exciting. It's a good sign because it means that it is doing pretty well, because I keep worrying about this one, because it will grow. This is kind of what Alocasias do anyway, but it will grow some beautiful leaves and they'll be lovely for quite a while, and then it will push out a new leaf and then it kills off the old leaf, and it always makes you think, oh god, what am I doing wrong, something's happening, when the reality of it is a lot of Alocasias do that. When they push out a new leaf, it kills off the old, and these leaves are getting kind of small, but you know, it's still really pretty, and I absolutely love this one. This was a gift from Laura, and I'm so happy that I'm managing to keep it alive. And this one is absolutely no fuss. It has never, oh, this, I think it may have had thrips once or twice, but it never got to the point where they were killing off the leaves, because I just wiped the thrips off before they managed to lay any eggs or feed off of it. So this Alocasia is looking pretty, it's a beautiful Alocasia. It's not the prettiest specimen right now because he's playing up a bit. He's getting rid of 2 leaves at once, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, new growth, and that is all I can ask for. So, and this was the one that actually, I don't know if I did a video about it, but it really started to rot. It had root rot because I had it in a pot that had no drainage, and it was sat in water a bit longer than I knew about. So I managed to save it, and I'm really happy that I have, because it is beautiful, and it's the only Alocasia I've managed to keep alive, so for now. Next up, I'll go with this Begonia, which is one of my least fussy begonias I've owned. Please ignore the huge dead part. It's not dead, but this is the Begonia Griffin, and this one is doing pretty good. It did drop all of the leaves off of here through one of my phases where I neglected it quite a lot, but it has grown up all these 2 new stems. They're completely new, and it came back from the brink of death. Even though this is all still solid and healthy, I was thinking I may cut this down, propagate it, because I can cut that into segments and they should all grow. I could put that in my propagation box, actually. That's a good idea. I will do that. But this begonia, if you don't have it and you like the look of it, or you like the look of tropical, really extravagant begonias, but you don't want to have a fussy plant, get the Griffin, because this is super easy care. I really do nothing other than water it every now and again, and it just grows beautifully, and it wilts when it wants watering, and then you water it and it picks straight back up. So definitely recommend that one if you don't have it. Yeah, and it's treated me really well. It's done really good. I don't think this one was affected by the thrips when I did have them, but I'm not going to make any promises. So yeah, that one's looking good. Right. Next up, we've got a couple of Sansevierias in very heavy pots. I think I may have watered this a bit too much. Nope, we're clear. We're all good. It's just inside. It's in a nursery pot inside a large decorative pot. So this is my Sansevieria Silver Flame. It's kind of looking the same as it always has. But I've kept it in a super dark spot in the room, so it's not really had the best opportunity to do much other than exist. And it's still looking pretty good. Honestly, still looking the same. I have not divided it. I've not done anything. I've just left it and let it do what it wants to do. Yeah, still really beautiful. It does need dusting. When it's been dusted, it is so shiny and glossy. Like, no, you can't really tell, but it gets super glossy. But at the moment, it is covered in dust. So I'll go through some point and do that, but I won't be in any rush to do so. But yeah, still one of my favourites, in the sense that I've had it a really long time and it's always been pretty popular on my channel. People have really enjoyed this plant, so it's got that bit of sentimental value to me as well, because it's kind of been one of the front runners in this, like, I don't know, I don't really need to explain it, I just really like it. Next up, I've got one of my newest plants. I've probably had it for maybe a couple of months, and it's just this really pretty fern. I got this, yeah, about a month ago. I can't really remember. But I just potted it up in the... Right, for some reason my phone just stopped recording, and that's weird because it's never done that before. So as I was saying, I've potted this fern up into this really pretty pot that my partner painted for me. So I got this for Christmas, and I never had anything nice to put into it, but then I found this fern and I thought it was... Right, quick pause there. I just went to work and came back, so it's a bit later in the day, but I'll finish this video now because for some reason the video kept cutting out. It stopped recording, and I'm hoping it's not going to do that this time, otherwise I don't know what was wrong. The next plant I've got here is my Sansevieria Moonshine, and this one was the one that I rescued from inevitably rotting, which there's a video about it on my channel. I'm not sure what it's called. It's probably called... I'm not sure what it's called. I'll link it here if I remember. But this one I've kind of... I don't want to use the word neglected, but I haven't really been looking after it at all. So it kind of has always been at the back of the shelf. I water it when I remember, which is hardly ever. And I did actually just water it yesterday, so it's perked up quite a lot. There was a lot more leaves that looked a bit like this. But it's looking good. Like, it's super healthy. It's grown a lot, and like if you compare that to when I first got it, it's insane. But it's kind of looks a bit janky. It don't look the best. But it is huge, and it has been like a labour of love, kind of, not really. In the beginning it was, and then it turned into just, I let it sort itself out. So we've got a couple of, you know, like this tip of the leaf is dead. I've had to cut off a couple of leaves. And there's also a leaf in the middle, you can see, it's like turning yellow, so. But yeah, other than that, it's really, I mean, it's doing good, it's healthy, so Yeah, that one's doing really well. I'm gonna go grab a couple more plants because they're all in my room. This is the spare room. And I think I've shown everything. Yeah, I've shown everything here. So I'm gonna grab a couple more and then we'll see how much we can do in one go. Right, next up I've got two of my Euphorbia obesus. I mean, I only have two. This is the oldest one. Look how cute that is. I don't know how old it is. I've had it for like 2 years, I think. And it's grown a bit. You see where the like slightly darker coloration in between, that is all like new growth. It's got a cool little ammonite in there. And this one actually had thrips quite bad, which you wouldn't imagine something like this could get thrips, but it did. And then it kind of recovered by itself. I didn't continue to kill the thrips, but it hasn't had any insect damage for a long while now. So I'd say for about a year, this one hasn't had any thrips. So it's doing all right, but I watered it yesterday and that's the first time I've watered it in probably 4 months. So yeah, he's looking good considering. He's a bit wonky now. He never used to be like that. But you know, it's probably where the soil dried up so much and then it just kind of shifted. I don't know, but I absolutely love those. And because I love them so much, I think that was my first one. Yeah, that was my first one. Because I love them so much, I did buy a second one, and this one looks really cute. It's a lot more pointed and it's a lot smaller. But this one, when I got it, it was a lot smaller than that. It was, I don't know how I'm really gonna be able to tell you guys, but it was like that tall rather than that tall. And it looks adorable in this little tortoise shell pot planter. Yeah, it's just doing really good. And this one doesn't have any pest damage, so it is like really just perfect. That is so pretty. And they're super easy, low maintenance. I water this literally once every 2 months probably. And no complaints, they're doing really well. Next up I've got another Sansevieria. This is my Sansevieria Star Canary, and it did used to be a lot more yellow. They are very well known for being like this yellow throughout the whole, like it usually has like 3 leaves all yellow in one go. But I did have this in a really low light area, and that may potentially be why it's not so yellow anymore. But it's doing good. Like it hasn't really grown, but it hasn't declined or done anything bad. I just thought I saw a thrip, but it wasn't. It was just a black speck. But I love this one a lot. I love that Sansevieria. It's so cool and unique. But I can't say it excites me as much as it did when it was luminous yellow. But you know, it's still really cool. It's a very unique one. Yeah. So there's that guy. I don't really have anything else to say about that. I really like it. Oh, I'm gonna go get my moonshine not moonshine, my whalefin Sansevieria, my Sansevieria masoniana. I'm gonna grab that because that has grown so much, and it was originally 1 leaf. Hopefully some of you guys will remember, but if not, I'll try and find a picture and I'll stick a picture here because it was literally 1 little tiny leaf. And I think it was £4.99. I can't remember, my friend got it for me, but I'll go grab it. Look at the size of this. So this here is the original leaf, and when I planted it in this pot, the leaf was direct center, like standing directly in the center, and it was, well, it was the only thing in the pot. But slowly it started to grow out some side shoots, and that pushed the leaf over. And then I'd say about a month ago, maybe, was it like a month ago, it started to shoot out this leaf, and look at the size of it. And it's pushed up like right in the edge. So you can, it's really like twisted the entire plant. But it's really cool. It's come up like with a weird fold in it. And that's not through underwatering, because I actually keep on top of watering this really well, not too much obviously. But I keep on top of this watering because it is just outside the bathroom, so it's really easy to just take some water from the tap and water it. So I think that is why it's done so well, because I've actually watered this thing. But look at the size of it. I don't care too much for this lanky one. I did actually snap this leaf at one point. It snapped directly over. I quickly stood it straight back up instantly, like as soon as I realised, and somehow now it's staying there. So that is doing really well. Tinky. Tink's come to say hello. Oh. Tink. You're looking the wrong way. Look this way. Hey. Oh, pardon you. So yeah, that Sansevieria is doing really well. And I've got a couple of other bits which I'll grab in a second. You're right there, Tink. Right, so I'm just going to go grab another plant. Oh, and I'll be right back. Right, so the next plant I've grabbed is, I feel like I say this about all of my plants, but I think this is the oldest plant in my collection. And by that, I mean that I've had it for the longest time rather than its actual age. Oops, ignore that. This is my Sansevieria trifasciata variegata. And this, I got this when, what year was it? I literally don't know. But I got it as a plant to have on my desk at work. And I don't work in an office job anymore, so it was like a long while ago. And I got it from Tesco's, and I think it was, honestly, I think it was like £5 at the time, which is a bit much. But I think it came in a nice pot. I really can't remember. But it has grown so much, and because I think it was only like 2 or 3 growth points, whereas now it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 growth points. And I've let this dry out so crazy. You would not think that it could come back from what it looked like. It honestly all looked like this. Not quite that bad, but so that is always doing really well. And for some reason I really like that plant. I think it's because I know that it's pretty much indestructible, so I know that I can just neglect it and neglect it and neglect it, and it will still come back just fine. But yeah, it's still really wrinkly where I've only recently watered it. I think it actually needs a bit more water, but I will sort that out after. So yeah, there's that, looking really good. I mean, to me, it looks good to me. I know it looks crap, but to me it looks really good. Right, this next one is an interesting one. You guys may remember, this is my astrophytum that I got for Christmas from my parents, and it was variegated, and it's now not variegated. And I'm really confused. I've not put any thought into it because it's confused me. I don't want to try to think about it because I feel like I'm not going to come to any conclusion. I could obviously just do a bit of research, and I'm sure it'll tell me what the situation is. But it used to have bright yellow variegation right in the centre, and now it doesn't. But regardless of that, I still love it, and it's still very special. But I'm really surprised and quite proud that I've managed to keep this alive, because they are super easy to overwater. And I let it dry out quite a bit, and it kind of shrivels a little bit, and then I'll give it a little dousing of water, and then it pumps back up. But I really don't drench it, and every time I water it I just give it a tiny dribble rather than letting it fully saturate the soil, because I just don't want to risk overwatering it. I know it looks pretty standard now that it's not variegated, but I still love it a lot, and I think it looks really nice in this pot as well. And I've stuck a little quirky mushroom in there too, just to add a bit of colour and interest. But yeah, I love that one. I don't know that you can really see too much detail on this camera from the front camera, but yeah, one of my favourites. Just the same as all the others, they're all my favourites. I think next I'll grab my hanging planters, but yeah, they might be a bit tricky, but I want to get every plant I own in this video just so that I can show because people ask for plant tours, and I keep saying I'll do it, but then I don't end up doing it. So I want to get every plant in this video so that I've got something to kind of look back on and be like, right, at that point I had all of those, and then see where it progresses, what dies, what grows, and all that. So let me change this up and I'll be right back. Right, next up I've got this Echeveria that I've had for a super long time again. This one has always done really well, and then about, well, I think it was in winter actually, maybe like January or something, I turned my grow light off, and I kind of left it off just because I was conscious of how much like energy it was using, and I just felt like I didn't need it anymore. So I turned my grow light off, and this little guy obviously started to etiolate quite a bit. So I don't really know what to do with this now. I was debating whether to cut it and then seeing what happens, but I just feel like it's probably going to get a bit messy. It isn't, I don't think it's trying to flower. I think it was just not enough light, so it started to etiolate, but it looks like a little Christmas tree. It's still sweet, I still like it, and I've had it for such a long time that I feel like I couldn't get rid of it. So I think I'm just going to keep this till it dies. It may never die, but I'm just going to keep it because I do really like it, and I think this was like £1.50 or maybe £2, and it's just done so well for such a long time, and it was my fault for putting it in the dark, but still kind of cute. It's so basic, so like standard, but for some reason I just really like it. I think it's probably because it's no fuss, that's why I like it. Next up I've got this, what's this called? It's like is it called the fire sedum? I can't remember. Something similar to that. I'm sure you guys are probably thinking like it's like super obvious, but I can't remember. Anyway, this similar situation to the Echeveria. It was in a really dark situation, so it's kind of etiolated quite a lot. What is it called? Firestorm sedum. Anyway, I really don't matter. And it's really green. It's usually got quite a bit of red in it, and when I had it under the grow light, it had quite a lot of red in it. But what I want to do is propagate it more, put the propagations back into the pot, and then chop it back, because it's just a bit, you know, just a bit that. But I got this from one of my viewers, viewers and friend, who I haven't spoken to in quite a while actually, but one of my viewers, Holly, she sent me this kindly as a couple of little cuttings, and it's grown super well, so I want to keep it because it's quite special. Like when people get me stuff or send me stuff, I don't want to neglect it. But yeah, there's that. Right, next up we've got the big boys. We've got the hanging plants, and these are super mature, I'd say now. This is my Hoya Carnosa Crimson Princess, covered in dust, covered in cobwebs, and it's very heavy, but it's just got so big. I bought this really small. It was in a 9 centimeter, no, it must have been a 10 centimeter or 12 centimeter pot, but it was super small when I first got it, and it's just grown so well. This has survived every thrip infestation I've ever had, which is quite a lot. It's never got thrips though, that's why it survived. I don't know how it never got thrips, but this just never ever got any pests whatsoever. And there's just a lot of growth, and at the moment there's quite a lot of new growth. The pinky coloration is the new foliage coming in, really nice. There's quite a lot down here as well. And yeah, I've taken a lot of propagations from this in the past. I haven't done anything to it recently. Right, okay, my camera keeps cutting out again. I've just reset my phone, so hopefully it won't do it again. But I was just saying I water this once every 2 weeks, roughly. Very loosely, I water it whenever I remember, or whenever there's like some leftover water in the cup in my room, I'll just pour it into here. So nothing special, and it does really well. I think this is the trend with me, is that the plants that do well are the ones that just thrive off of neglect. So yeah, that one's doing really well. Right, next up is one of my prized possessions. This is my Hoya Polyneura. I showed this, I think this was actually my most recent video. Oops. A bit top heavy or side heavy, but it is huge, and I can't say that I've ever seen anyone with one this big. Not that I'm bragging, but I just, not that I haven't searched for it. I'm sure I'd find a bigger one if I looked, but I'm super proud of this. It's just such a impressive plant. And yeah, as you know, I did just cut off a lot of the tips off this plant because I've just propagated it quite a lot. I just have this in a hanger, just a sphagnum moss mix with multi-purpose compost, and yeah, it's doing super well. This one does sometimes get frips, but weirdly not in a bad way. It will have like one leaf that gets affected, then that leaf will drop off, and then that'll be it, and it'll be kind of over it. I say that, there's actually some frips on the back of this leaf right now. Okay, let's check all these. Yeah, there's nothing on there. Yeah, that's like how it happens on this plant. It will literally get like one frip, and I'll find it, kill it, and then it like goes away for such a long time. But anyway, regardless, I'll go through this afterwards, but the point of this video is just to show you the plants. So yeah, super, super cool. I love that, and it's bloody huge. Right, next up, I've got a weird one. Let's hope that doesn't fall and break. Is that gonna be okay? Yeah. Right, next one is a Peperomia. Oops. This is my least loved plant. This is a Peperomia angulata, and I don't water it. I water it once every 2 months or something crazy. And it's like, it looks rough. Well, it looks more rough on camera actually, because it always looks pretty good. There are a few dead stems in there at the moment that I need to go through and pick out, but this is just, if you want a super low maintenance plant that really needs nothing, get the Peperomia angulata. I literally do nothing to it. It's just in regular multi-purpose compost. I'm getting an achy arm. Yeah, and I don't know, it looks alright. I don't hate it, I don't love it, but I don't hate it. I am looking to get rid of this one though, just because I'd rather use the space with a plant that I prefer. But yeah, I thought I'd show you it because it's in my collection. Right, next up I've got some that are not looking good. These ones I was like, I don't really want to show them, but I'm gonna show them just to be transparent. These are my Hoya macrophyllus, and I have two. So this was the original one, which has just started to rot the leaves that it had, and it had this new leaf that just started growing, and then a plant that I had next to it was laying its leaf right on it like this, so it's covering all of that. And then I lifted the leaf up, the baby leaves died, and then the two biggest leaves are starting to turn yellow. So at this point, I just want to give up with this. I'm not gonna, but it took so long to grow a new leaf, and then it has died off. It's still got the stem where it had the flowers on, and so I'm not having much luck with this, but it's still one of my favourite cultivars. It's just such a shame that they just aren't doing well. And then this is my new one, and you can see the size of it compared to when I've bought it. It has lost a lot. I don't know, I think I don't water enough, and I also think partly they don't travel very well, but I don't want to just use that as an excuse or a reason, even though it may be a very valid reason. But it's just, you know, there's still quite a bit of plant there. I might try and rescue it. The first thing I'll do is I'll start watering a little bit more. I'm just like, in my mind I'm saying, no you won't. But I'm going to make an effort to water it a bit more. I think I definitely would like it a bit better if I put them both into one pot, and if the pot was, I don't want to say smaller, but an easier pot, because this is one of those hanging pots that's got like the little reservoir in the bottom. So it's difficult, it's just not a very good pot to water in. I just don't really like the pot. But regardless of that, it's still doing all right. This is a new leaf, so that's good. And there's a new baby leaf coming in just here. Oh, and here, this is a new leaf as well. Okay, so maybe it's not as bad as I think. Maybe it does just need some time to get going. But that is my 2 Hoya macrophyllars, and yeah, I don't have anything else to say about those. I love them, but it's a love-hate relationship because I want to love them as much as I know I will, but they look like that. So I'll get there. They'll pick up and they'll do something good. If you guys have Hoya macrophyllars and you have any tips, let me know. Because like, I know keep it in bright and direct light. I don't want to put it in the sun. I don't want to put it in too dark. I do think I don't water it enough, and I do think actually that it's probably not in a bright enough spot. And I think if I change those 2 things, they would definitely do a bit better. But then I want to transplant them, and I feel like doing the transplanting is just going to conk them out and they're going to drop their leaves or something like that. So I'm a bit afraid to do anything to them, but I will start watering them more and I'll move them to a brighter spot. That'll be my first plan of action, if that's what you say, yeah. Right, let me go grab something else. Right, next up I've got my ZZ Raven. I do have 2 of these. The other one is just behind my door, and I thought it looks the same as this, so I might as well just show the one. This is covered in dust, and I really have neglected these. Not because I don't care about them. I really do love it. It hasn't really put on much growth, but it's purely because I just have not been looking after it. Yeah, but it's still looking good. I still really like it. There's not really much else to say. I would like this to be standing up a bit more like that. But there we are. Yeah, I just need to go through and clean it, and then it's going to look really good. It still doesn't need repotting. I don't know if you guys remember, but I painted these pots because I bought a mystery box and they sent me 2 luminous pink pots. So I painted them and they look a lot better now than they did. Unless you love pink, then I'm sure you preferred it before. But yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about these. They're doing really well, considering I'm really not looking after them. But yeah, once I've got a better spot for them, because they kind of just sit at the back of my desk. Once I've got a better spot for them, they get a bit more light. I'm gonna sneeze. Then they'll do much better. Right, next. Right, another couple of really small bits. I have here, I don't know the name of this. Oh wait, it's literally on it. Right, this is a Gymnocal Fredericii. He's always looked the same unless I don't water it, and then it really shrinks like short, and then I water it and then he plumps up fat again. But yeah, he's looking good. Always looked pretty much the same. Nice little purple colour in there, you can really see it. I don't know if you can see it very well on camera, but it gets a really nice purple colour. I haven't transplanted it, I'm not going to, I don't think, because I think the second I transplant it, it's going to get upset and die. This has flowered, oh, it flowered once for me, it hasn't flowered twice. But I think when I bought it, it had a bud on it, so I think that's kind of cheating. But yeah, I really like that one. It's so simple, but it's just, sometimes the little simple ones really do scratch that itch. Next up, I've got my Ripsalis paradoxa. This was my original one here. It actually did lose 2 limbs. There were 2 more pieces in there, and you can see that it's really, really underwatered. Again, with this, I've just started watering a bit more frequently, and when I say just started, I mean today. Oh, I've noticed yesterday, to be fair. I give myself some credit. But I really love this plant. I'm just neglecting it to a point where it's not looking good, and I think once I start maintaining it a bit better, which obviously I'm very capable of, I just for some reason haven't been. Once I start that, it will look a lot better. And then in this pot here are all the propagations that I took from it a long while ago. Again, I haven't been watering these either, otherwise they would have grown a lot more by now, and they're looking very thin, obviously, because they are dry. But yeah, once these really get growing, I'll pot them up together and it'll create a nice full plant. And I'm alive, right? And I think I'll like it a lot more. Plus, it's in like a little plastic nursery pot. So once it's in like a nicer planter, I could put this in the hanging pot to replace that Peperomia. And once it has established, that will really look a lot better. So yeah, that's a good idea actually. Yeah, but I got these on eBay. It was 2 cuttings of 1 cutting, and it was like, I think £5. And I've just kept growing it and cutting it and then putting it back in this pot. That's why there's so many in here, because it was just like 1 or 2 at that size. But now there's loads in there. I didn't realize there was so many. Oh, it's dripping on me. Yeah, so there's those guys, which will look good one day, but that day is just not now or anywhere in the near future. No, they'll look fine. If you can hear anyone screaming, it's my little brother. He's playing Xbox with his friends. Right, and here I have my pickle plant, minus 1 stem, minus 2 stems. This is just going crazy. It looks a bit scary, but I still love this plant. And this one actually does, if you're looking to get one of these, just beware they do get thrips. Although this one did kind of fight the thrips off itself, I do not know how. But I'm just checking before I speak too much, because maybe they still got it. But no, there's definitely none on here. No. I really love this plant. It's so unique and weird. But yeah, I love it. I want to like maybe repot it or something, but I don't know what to do. Look how it covers so much ground. That's like 50 centimeters of plant space, just because it won't stand up straight. I probably could tie it up. It might just look a bit ugly. But yeah, these are really cool. If you've never had one of these, if you've got space, go for it. They're really cool. I love it, but I can't tell you why. It's just so a bit spooky in it. It's cool. I really love that one. Let's put it over there just in case it has got a thrip on it. This next one is my rickrack cactus. Super dry, but I thought I'd show you it. It needs watering. But this one's doing okay, minus the ridiculous dryness. But this was just a cutting that I got free in a parcel, like in a plant parcel that my parents got me. There was a couple of cuttings that came free in the box, and it was these. And yeah, I can't really say too much. It's doing all right. Looks really bad, but yeah. Once I start watering it, it'll look good. We see a theme here in my video. Right, I've come to the bathroom to show you these ones rather than running them up to my room. But I've got my Chlorophytum Bonnie here. I do need to go through it and pick out some of those dead leaves, but it's doing really well. It's growing a lot, and it's got a lot of little babies coming up on it. I've got this Aglonema here. I don't know the exact cultivar of this one, but it's looking all right. It doesn't do much for me personally, but it's there. I've got my Aloe somaliensis here, which I need to water it a bit more, but it's got some nice new growth coming in. These are all cuttings of the Polynura, and then I've got my original Begonia here, which for some reason always does pretty well. It's looking a bit naff at the moment, and I do need to go around and pick off those dead leaves, but it's always doing really well. I would just wish that all of my other begonias would do as well as this one, but they do not. And then this is the original Scindapsus pictus that I had, like it's the first Scindapsus pictus I ever bought, and it's doing pretty good. Looks a bit rough, but it's like vining all the way over here and down there. Yeah, and then down here I've got a little cactus, which is doing really well. As always, he's really low maintenance, nice and easy. Yeah. Right, so that was all of my houseplants in one video, and I feel like I've missed a lot of my plants, but I think it's because they've all died. So yeah, that was all of my houseplants in one video, I think. I'm pretty certain that's like the most I've, yeah, definitely all of them. My plan moving forward, I just bought a new plant last night, and I think I mentioned this in another video. I just bought my philodendron melanochrysum, and that should be coming in a couple of days. I'm really excited about that, and I'm going to keep that in a separate room away from everything else, just so that it does not get thrips, because if it gets thrips, I'm done. I can't be bothered. I'm throwing it away. So I'm really excited about that plant coming, and then I think from then on I'm going to try to control myself, because I'm very impulsive. Well, not really. I'm not impulsive when it comes to spending money, but I'm impulsive when it comes to wanting new plants. So I think I'm going to try and, in a controlled way, increase my plant collection, but I'm going to really try to control it so that I don't go out of hand. But having said that, watch this space, because I'm going to go crazy, no doubt. I'm going to get a lot, I bet, but it's all good fun, and it'll all be a good journey, and it'll be good to watch back when I look back at my videos. So yeah, I'm going to start getting a few more plants, and if you guys have any suggestions for plants and it's something that I haven't already tried, leave it down in the suggestions, like down in the comments below, and I'll definitely look into it. I'm open to suggestions, and yeah, I just know that I don't want any more philodendrons other than this one philodendron that I've just bought. But after that, I think I'm done with philodendrons for a while, only because of thrips, not because I don't love them. I love them a lot, but yeah, okay, right, I'll leave it there, because I don't know how long this video has been, because I've been doing it in tiny chunks. But I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Yeah, and let me know what you thought of my plant collection. Yeah, thank you for watching. Please do subscribe and like if you want to see more. And I'm trying to upload once a week now. Gonna really try quite hard. So hopefully a bit more regularity will kind of, you know, it'll be a bit more interesting rather than once every 4 months, which I've been doing. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.